And we did have to try to do it a second time because the first time it did not put it in this scale. I don't know what it did. It put it in like, it wasn't screencasting at all, so it just kind of showed me. And that's not going to get the job done. So I had to reset it. Thank you to everybody who tuned back in. I'm not too worried about it. You know, stuff happens. Um, but we see a lot of rebounds today. A beautiful landscape here starting to develop. And for Ethereum, the way it held in the exact spot that it did, at least allowing this inverse head and shoulders to continue playing out. XRP held a very volatile area, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful down at the 280 mark approximately. And for anybody who's been a part of Band, if you're looking at it and saying, oh, fuck. Well, that's why there's momentary opportunities. But Band, if you want to be real, I've told some in the Telegram who have asked, 84 point, well, it's like right around here with this golden cross. It's going to come back here and back test these areas. I mean, it just went straight up. So this is what ends up happening. So in the future, if you ever hear me say, well, I'd rather it back test every step of the way so that we don't go up and come straight back down to such a hard extent, this is what I mean. But this is fantastic what's happening here. It's building this cup and handle. I just wanted to get that out of the way right away. CRO, which I don't talk about a lot, which is the crypto.com token. It's for the Kronos ecosystem. And by virtue, you know, I've got just over 30,000 tokens, but that's because I had to have it for the crypto.com Visa card for the Ruby level. And I get rewards for spending, you know, the prepaid debit card. So I always forget to put that on there, but I guess with what Trump said, it should be on that list since it is part of the stack. But I don't put a lot of stock into it. I actually forget I have it. And I just need it out of necessity for what I need to do. Bitcoin had a strong bounce back at 112,000 almost. We've got Ethereum almost up at 4,600. Trying to validate these reversals. But we're going to focus a lot on XRP here. And then as we get going on, I want to tap into the mining sector because it's literally a sector that goes unnoticed. And believe it or not, it's outpacing crypto in 2025 as a whole, the sector as a whole. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic. But both sides can work unilaterally in your favor. So good evening. 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Juggin. Frankie Fresh, Amanda, Ricci Farms, Papa Willie, thank you all for tuning in and being part of Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Poppy Lou, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. UK Phil, Mo, and Mark Caston, thank you all three of you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Let's see. IQ, good evening, my good friend. And thank you so much for tuning in, William. Blessed to have you in here, my friend. So awesome to see you in here. Relly, good evening. How's it going, people? Caught alive, laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm glad to see you guys. Relly said, how's it going? People caught alive. I'm glad you were able to catch alive. Big Dog, welcome in. Good evening to you. Dan Marginal, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Aussies Out House Crypto News now. Awesome seeing you continue there. CJ2 Pilot, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. CJ2 Pilot, I too am loving CRO. You know, it's fun to not remember. I'm not the XRP credit card and all that. I haven't even looked into it, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I don't know. Not much, to be honest with you. I think it's cool, but I'm not necessarily, like, I haven't even looked into it, if I'm being honest. Like, as far as the purchase and the do what I need to do. G-Star and Mike B, thank you so much for tuning in and being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Love it. James Wilson, good evening. Crazy Paul McMichael, thank you both for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. I got a cut on my finger a few days ago, like on a very sharp piece, and it's finally starting to heal. But it was, let's see, I don't even know if you guys will be able to see that. It's finally starting to heal, but that was a decent one. You know, in a past life, it may have been stitch-worthy, but not in this life. But yeah, it healed back together pretty nicely now. Let's see. IQ says FYI, the only Canadian exchange that lists banned for trading decided to sunset it in September. This is a big exchange and is dropping ban. Oh, that sucks. It's like what they're doing to us with IOTA and band. I mean, man, band it's such a unique like I believe band's gonna be worth more than XRP. So like, and some are like, you son of a bitch. And it's like, it's not that I'm a son of a bitch. It's just like with the circulating supply and what it does, it's not positioned to be at 88 cents or 82 cents. It's positioned to be at 10, 15, $20. And I'm not saying long term. I'm talking about it's going to do it in this next cycle. If we have a real alt season, band will pass XRP in price. You know, I can't guarantee it, but I personally believe that's what's going to happen. If band has a real run up and we have a real alt season, band should be positioned to outtake XRP, not by market cap, of course, but just by pricing. So that's what I fully expect to happen. If it doesn't happen and XRP continues to outpace it, I'll still be happy. I own both. I'm just saying, I'm putting that 10,000 band versus the 10,000 XRP right now, and I want to see what ends up being ahead come mid-2026. And XRP got a hell of a head start because 10,000 XRP was worth about 34,000 when I bought band, and those 10,000 band were worth 6,400. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be a hell of a ride. But either way, I think we're at peak performance, and I think what we're doing on these oracles, and no, we don't have Chainlink. It never came down as low as I really wanted to, especially with some of the plays that I was aware of with band. That was one of the big ones. XYO, I don't think a lot of people understand just why I love it so much. And I've honestly been considering, because of it being a data oracle itself, an oracle in a sense, I suppose. I often consider just getting rid of my data, the couple 100,000 data, and just putting it all in XYO. And then I said, no, if 3, 4, 500,000 isn't enough of XYO tokens wise, I mean, I'm trying to hit every one of these little areas. And it proved me today why you have to have exposure every way. You know, it's like, it just proves it time and time again. And I just have a simple philosophy. I was putting profits after the bull cycle and the bear, and then when we were making profits in the bear market, and some in this bull market. I reversed a lot earlier in the year into mining stocks. Bunch of profits. And they've just, where we're at now, it's like, I wish Trading with J-Ride was in here right now. We were talking about B2 Gold at $2.36, $2.48, $2.62, and all this whole time buying. Heck, I even bought some more B2 Gold. It was up to $3.60 and it dropped down to $3.20. I never thought I would do that. And I bought more because I'm like, this is just ridiculous. That was just a few weeks ago. And now it's up over $4. I mean, we haven't even gotten, the scary thing is we haven't even gotten started yet. B2 Gold's not even close to its high from just a few years ago. Like, we're not even close. If you go back to the COVID areas, the pandemic, it was up at 7. We're not even close. Even with the movie, we're not even close. Like, we are not. The promised land is going to be felt, and the shame of this part of the promised land is that mining stocks have legitimately gone unnoticed. Unnoticed. And I've even added a little bit more, and I don't even know if anybody noticed the last couple of days, but I haven't really talked about it. But the Silver Corp one, that's just because now I've made such a nice dent in some of the other ones that I started to be like, well, here's one that's on the rise, and it's just that whole sector I'm creating basically my own ETF within, and this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You know, it's for entertainment purposes, but I just speak of what I do. So, but I think we've tapped this market so well between having algo at one corner, and I wish I had IOTA, but in the USA, and I don't like Uphold because they've stolen 1,000 XRP from Julie since 22, and she's 23, and she still hasn't got them back. Granted, we were able to take out everything but that, but that's over $3,000 worth right now, so that's a problem. So I won't support them personally either with that happening to her. So, but it's a shame because I would love to have IOTA, but I don't regret it now So what I did was I have 40,000 algo. So I have a strong holding point on algo. I have a nice strong hold on XYO and data and band and GRT, which is graph, and there's just so many strongholds we have. Axelar, I think, is a huge player in all of this as well. I think we're getting it for a steal. XRP Healthcare and XRP. I just trying to tap these at different areas. Um, just trying to tap it. You know, just trying to tap this. While at the same time lowering my risk on DGB just because of the offloading issues. So, you know, a couple 100,000 is just what I'm going to ride with it. And we'll see what happens because I don't want to worry about the offloading. So, yeah, I made a couple tough decisions here recently to kind of condense a little bit but grow within what I already have. But with XRP, as you've seen in the title, we said XRP surges back above $3, and I simply said $5 is coming, which it is. It's inevitable. The $5 mark is inevitable, but that, you know, that doesn't mean that it comes without a cost. And we don't know what the cost is right now because we could just, it could just be this consolidation and we're mimicking the earlier cup and handle. And now this breakout will get us up in the short term to 389. And then we'll continue our road on and so forth. But this is our pattern setup now. We need to either break out of this pattern and break up to that 389 and then continue on our journey, or we need to break down and back test this $1.92 and get it over with and then continue to move on. Either or, I'm okay with. I'd rather just break out right now if I'm being honest. It's better for what I do. It's better for the channel. And plus, I like to see my portfolio growing instead of sinking. If I have, you know, if I'm being honest, I do like to accumulate if it comes down into opportune moments. But I'd rather see it go up than down. So basically, it's either that drop down to $1.92 if this were to break down, or that rise up to $3.89. I personally would like to see that pushing $4 again. Obviously, that 389 would legitimately be an all-time high on pretty much every exchange now, because 385 sits on a few of them. That's never been broken. So technically, XRP has not made an all-time high on every exchange in the U.S. Like if you price it in U.S. dollars. There's a couple of them that were actually up at 385, and XRP hasn't even hit 370 yet. So technically, there is still some work to be done. James Wilson, good evening. Let's see. Oh, I already got there. Corey Kills, welcome in, and thank you so much for joining Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That is so awesome to see that. That is such a confidence boost, I can't even explain it. Go on YouTube, as you see me doing right now, not to watch this guy. I'm sure he's a fine gentleman. But to go on here and go to the post on my YouTube channel, and then there will be a link for the Telegram. I will share this privately because last time I tried to do this and then somebody tried to splice it and then they tried to scam our audience. So I'm going to share this on my YouTube channel, and if you're part of the Tom's Army, this is going to scroll across, well, in theory it'll scroll across your screen. And then click on it and you can join the Telegram. There's 472 people in there, and I think it'll blow your mind. It'll knock your socks off. And while we're going through this, I can tell you a story. Oh, I think I might have already told it, but at my son's school, did I tell everybody I was at my son? No, I don't think I did. I was at my son's school doing his orientation. Maybe I did tell everybody. I don't know. And a guy walked up to me and he's like, "I know who you are." And his XRP's doing pretty good, isn't it? And he goes, "You're XRP Future Million." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna have to wear a disguise. I'm gonna start wearing disguise walking around town. This is the second time this happened." You know, it's not like I have that many followers. They have 2 people recognize me now in like a matter of a few weeks. Look, Mom, I've made it. I made it. That's the oh shoot, we don't want to share it here. What am I doing? Whoops. Mods, I had a brain fart. Whoops. Oh, look at that. I just invited the douchebags of the douchebags in. Look at that. Can you believe I just did that? Someone's ripping their hair out. Define's probably ripping his friggin' hair out right now saying, "You dumb son of a bitch. I told you don't show that in the lives. Now we're going to have to deal with this. You better get a cup of coffee tonight, Define. I just screwed you over here a little bit." No, I just did it again. We don't want all channel members. Whoops. But at least you guys couldn't see that. But yeah, so that went good. JJ, if you're watching, it was cool meeting you. About the same age as I am, I would say. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. catches me off guard every time because I'm not exactly, I don't like to stand out, but you know. You're like, hey, I wonder if he's XRP future millionaire. Well, what other idiot hasn't cut his hair in 2 years or 2.5 years? I guess that's a dead giveaway when you see it. Like, that's got to be him. Anyhow, so with XRP, we're stuck within this consolidation, and I've marked it at two slightly different areas, but they're both exactly the same resonate. They'll resonate with you the same way. It's just the one at 314, I put it a little bit higher. Or at 3, what was it? 3. That wasn't that much higher. Whoops. See, that one's still forming. That's the one I don't really want to form if it keeps building, and I'm not going to talk about it right now, but if that keeps building, that could be doing something like what Bitcoin and Ethereum might be setting up for. I mean, 314 there, that's giving it the higher, you know, speculation more to the top side, so that we have to have a little higher resistance before we would validate it. Yeah. Oh, I'll grab it. Hold on, everybody. Julie needs the water for my son's feeding. Oh, you're fine. So yeah, that's a big way of where we stand right now, and I think that's a good way to break it down, especially for XRP. Just seeing, and it looks fantastic in the macro. This looks absolutely spectacular. And the micro could be very spectacular. It's just, I like to have both sides of this. We can take this out so that you're not like, oh my God, it's actually going to go down there. No, that's just if it comes down to back test. But if we break out of here, we're going short order to 389. I just think it's nice when you can see the whole chart and you'll be able to break it down whether you're watching or not. Later. Bearded Viking, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the emoji badge and me being with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Says, thank you for giving us your time and knowledge. It's greatly appreciated. Hope everyone is blessed and favored by God. We are all favored by God because we believe in this. Well, most of us believe in this community. Some have their own beliefs. But, you know, I appreciate you bringing up our Lord and Savior, Yahweh, Yeshua. And now that there's more than one of us speaking the name of our Lord and Savior, God becomes present among our actions and amongst our topic of discussion, as it turns out, for guidance. So, got to keep our minds and hearts open to see what we're supposed to absorb here. Jay Mathers, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Mick Michael, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Better have that looked at. No, it's fine. It's all closed up. It's not even swollen or anything. It just looks worse than it is now because it's all scabbed up. Oh yeah, no, it literally looks worse than it is now. That would have been a question for a few days ago, but yeah, it definitely looks worse than it is. Let's see. Mining stocks are definitely not unnoticed by normal stock traders. That's a crypto thing where most stocks are ignored from my perspective. I would have to disagree with that. Barely anybody cares about mining stocks. I've been doing this. I speak to a lot of people, and I do this. You know, most people don't care. When you talk about mining stocks, they think you're kind of screw loose. It's one of the least traded sectors by volume when it comes to retail. Yes, big investment firms and things like that like to shove into the miners. But when you look at it through retail, not very much retail money is going to the miners. So I agree to disagree, Nick. I agree to disagree. But Nick, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and also in the Telegram. Much respect to you. Also are a very trusted technical advisor who helps very, very, very deeply when it comes to the charts. Very, very deeply. Let's see. I'm in the Telegram already. I didn't do human checks, so I can't talk, but I'm constantly watching it in every live and short thing. Oh, all right. That's fair enough, Corey. Fair enough, and you are welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Nick says to check the XRP Bitcoin pairing. And Jan, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod in here during the lives. And then Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Oh, man, I love it. Thank you so, so very much for that. Seriously. Jan, you've been around for so long. It's awesome. So, so awesome. Let's go, Tommy. Bring out the guns. One day we'll bring them out. One day. It's all an illusion. Decent notification. Thanks for being in time for over 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Woo, the days are catching up. Been a busy last couple days, I must say. Says decent reaction from Bitcoin at the inauguration day. Yeah, true. True. Jason Whippo, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's under 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Love seeing that. Thank you so much for the continued support. Nick said the XRP Bitcoin pairing, especially in the 2 week. Ooh, the XRP Bitcoin pairing's looking phenomenal. Looks like XRP should and could, and hopefully will, run against Bitcoin. It's looking like we should be teasing something here. Yeah, that should, hopefully that'll flag out of here. Just want to see something. I always like to see, like, if it wants to drag its feet, how long it could take, even if it was staying within a certain setting. It's a nice little setup right there. Golden Crossman in the weekly. I have to go onto the website to get to the 2 weekly, but I will do that. Looking good right now. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Golden Cross trying to bounce off of. Nice V-shaped recovery. Looks like it's building an inverse head and shoulders. The only question would be is if it doesn't have enough strength to get out of here right now, where would the secondary, but right now it seems okay. Obviously we have to break over here. If you build it out like that, technically it could, well, I don't think it's going to take that long. We're just building it out, just to have a structure. But hold on. Go on to the website, xrbfuturemillionaire.com. If you want to, it's up to you. It has a lot of features, but, you know, still doing some stuff that I'm trying to figure out. So, let's see. XRP. You can go to any current, any symbol you want, any tradable asset. And it'll pop up on here. It's a live API, up to the second updating. I like to say it's a 24/7 XRP chart, which it is through the market cap. But you can do anything you want. Any chart, any exchange, any denomination, like whatever your native current, it doesn't matter. You can do it. So if we go into the 2 weekly, I guess I can't even go into the 2 weekly here either. Look at that. So I can't go into the 2 weekly on these charts. So especially because I'm on mobile, so I'm not able to look at it in the 2 weekly as it turns out. Oh, wait a minute. I could have looked at it one different. Fuck. Never. It doesn't matter. I can build my own monthly. I mean, once it breaks out of this, if it breaks out, we know we're moving. We know we're moving. And this this is still an overwhelming setup over the top. So once this breaks out, this would bring us up to that 5110. That's where I've been waiting for it to come back up to, because that's the short order part of this pattern. I just don't look at it as often. But you can definitely see something's building here. There's definitely something building. Nice descending wedge. Looks like that it bounced out of. Continue that uptrend. Maybe, see, that's the only thing. We'll see what ends up happening. The faster it breaks out of here, which would probably mean that Bitcoin's breaking down. But, you know, XRP could outperform. Let's say XRP has a 30% move and Bitcoin's only going up 5 or 6. It'll start to trend up in that direction. So, I mean, looking very strong, the XRP Bitcoin pairing. Very, very strong. And honestly, Bitcoin, it's trying to solve its own problems right now. Bitcoin's been stuck in this, what looks like a rising wedge. And unless it can fix this, it's got some problems here. Let me change this to yellow so it's easier to see. I don't know why it's in orange, because that definitely makes it harder to see. And like, this is the one thing I've been focused on. Like this, it looks like it's coming down out of a rising wedge. And now it's like, we can run this across just so that we can see where that resistance comes over across. But that, to me, you know, we got to get past here for Bitcoin if we don't want to break down. But then it's like we've discussed in the past, like we're trying to get the money to flow from Bitcoin to Ethereum and then into the altcoins. So would it be the worst thing in the world if that is a topping reversal and then it just collapses? I mean, a rising wedge and then that's an M topping reversal over the top? No, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, actually. Bring us down to 81K, and then if money's actually flowing like it should, you know, Bitcoin dominance could drop. But the only thing that I see that, you know, and the Bitcoin dominance is doing what it was supposed to out of that drop. And it didn't come all the way down yet, but 57% was the targeted drop. The only thing that I see that kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in what we want, because we want Ethereum. But, you know, it's possible that Ethereum's building a similar pattern that Bitcoin was building. I'm going to get rid of this. And rid of this because there's just so much noise on here. I didn't want to show all of the... Well, I guess I could keep it just in case. But this was kind of working within this pattern and trying to see, like, what the fuck is this thing trying to do here? And, like, I did not 100% work this out yet because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm seeing here. If it's even possible. Because, like, when I started looking at it, I'm like, you know, I've seen this before. I'm like, this almost looks like Bitcoin. So, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Hopefully this is just a rising triangle and then we break out. And we don't have to have that big drop back down to, like, that 3,700 area. So I'm choosing to be opportunistic. I'm choosing to trade in spot, no leverage. And then, you know, some of this stuff has been going on for a long time. So now it's just kind of the waiting out game. But there is that possibility that something weird's forming here. But if we break out of here, we could use this as leverage here, like stepping stone. And we could find ourselves in a very, well, not short, but in a very strategic fashion here, all the way up to that 5,500 plus level. And then it would come in time. We know we've got higher targets for Ethereum over the top, which is like 7,700 or something. So close to that. But we just need to get out of this setup. If we get out of this setup, it was the same thing for Bitcoin too. If Bitcoin got out of its setup, it would have went to 143. Even though it filled out what our expected target for the bull cycle, but it created another consolidation. It's just the rising wedge ended up so far winning out. When it couldn't stay over 116, it just kind of dropped it. So now we'll see what Bitcoin does. But we got to see if this is something that we need to worry about for Ethereum. And at some point we can say no, it's not. But it has to get over that almost $5,000 area, if we're being honest. 4,900 plus. So these are just what I watch. And that's how we're going to know how bullish we truly are. If we can get into this real turn. If Ethereum's over 5, oh boy. Ooh, that's going to be something. It's like we're one big day. Instead of having these up, down, we're one big day of a 15 to 20% move on Ethereum now from here to the upside. to really open up some of these floodgates possibly. It's just every time we get close, we seem to have this fucking 10 or 15% drop in one day. And then we end up working our way back up 6% here, 8% there, 7. And then we end up dropping back down. So one of these times, though, if it keeps pushing up here, it's not going to fall down. It's just I do have some slight concerns with like where Bitcoin's at. You know, what Ethereum, what it needs to do from here. But I'm not scary. Actually, a lot of opportunity. So like we can see what's going to happen down the road in these macro perspectives. The micro is funny. To look at it makes for more entertaining content. But I mean, if you really just take it out to the entirety of this, I mean, you can see why Bitcoin's struggling right now. That was the pattern setup. I had absolutely filled it out. So like I got no regrets here with what Bitcoin does. You know, I'm not an investor in Bitcoin, but I know what it needs to do here for our next chapter to happen. And I kind of know what can happen with the market. That's like I see a lot of companies leveraging their businesses for Bitcoin, and they're buying it at 95, 100, 110, 120. You know, doing what MicroStrategy did. They're selling common shares of their company just to kind of fuck them over. Get that collateral by oversaturating the stock that the people that buy it already own. So it oversaturates it, causing the price to go down artificially. But then it stays a reality because you got common shares. You know, it's diluting the sample size. And then they use that money to buy Bitcoin. And my first question is what happens when their margin gets called? What happens when the loan gets called? Because a lot of these people are putting this shit on margin and they're taking out loans and against their companies. What happens the first time Bitcoin has a 50 to 70% drop? Because in every cycle it has. After it went to the top, even in the one in 2021, Bitcoin got to what, like 65? And then it dropped to 15. Like, if that happens again, you know, MicroStrategies isn't in the worst position because even if it dropped down to 70, their average price is down in that area. I mean, it still would suck. They're going to be a top heavy, but they still got a lot down, you know, lower. But what about some of these companies? The first time it drops under 80, we're going to have a whole fucking, we're going to have a calamity on our hands. I mean, we're going to go back to the bond market. We're going to go back to some of these debacles we had because it was over leveraged. And the way that money was moving was improper. This is going to be bad. It's like you can see the deck of cards and what's going to happen down the road. And it's like this can't possibly end well. I mean, we're going to clean up when we can, but this is not overall in the next few years is not going to end well. It's not. You know, and I'm so thankful that we're in it when we are and we can make it when we do. Because come regulation in 20, I think they're going to pull the rug below. I think they're going to legitimately, something weird's going to happen. And I'm not going to get into it deeper. We're just going to talk about it today. So, $3 for XRP. It's scary that it was at 222 at the end of that $3 one. That entire time I was saying that. But we're looking right now. We have our nearest support. If we're looking at the micro at 298, that's what we're trying to hold to start pushing up to the micro of 306, and then the pattern at 314, which you can move to about 312ish area, but I like 314. And then you'd be trying to make that everescent climb, or the everescent climb, I should say. And you're trying to get to the promised land eventually. Just a lot of work to be done. We've already done a lot of work though. We've been watching this climb since 34 cents, folks. Actually 28 when it hit that bottom. But it's been a long journey and it's not over yet. It is not over yet. Look at that pattern. That is not even close. We're looking at $5.49 and possibly $6.38. Assuming that this plays out to its potential. Yes, there's something else forming here for XRP that I'm not gonna. Well, it's just that possibility. If Bitcoin and Ethereum were to break down, it would bring it to $1.92. So the possibility's up there. I'm just not painting a picture so much of how it can happen. So just pay attention to those numbers. You can come to your own logical conclusions of what's going on. I'm not meant to make you do something or not do something, but I do like to show all the information. I really, really do. So I wanna focus on a little bit of the mining stocks real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. So thankful for you being in here, love. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great evening so well. It's evening here, so early AM for you. Kyle Kupiak, welcome in. Cape Cod Kyle from Massachusetts and also in Tom's Army for well over a year. I really appreciate that. George Athanaza, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. What a beautiful community. Trading with J Ride, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. He said, I'm always here, Tom. Or I'm here, Tom. Always here, just don't speak much. Excellent. He heard me calling for him because I was talking about B2 Gold. Trading with J Ride. Don't you remember when we were talking about B2 Gold at 232, 248, 262, 280? And we were just saying, eventually we're going to be sitting here and it's not going to be 250. It's going to be $4 and then $5. And it's so funny because then it went from 3 to 350. And now we're sitting here over $4. Pretty insane. Pretty insane. Tyndale High All is the WLFI futures on BitUnix, the one that Trump is backing. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Miss G Stott, welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in. For your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Mr. and Mrs. G Stott, both in Tom's. I mean, I love it. They're big fan. Mr. Stott said we're big fans of the metals. We definitely need to study up on the mining stocks. And Miss Stott said, I keep looking at some of the mining stocks you brought up, but not sure a good entry point. That's the biggest thing. Because as they continue to go up, I mean, I can say, oh, well, I think we're not even close to where we're going, but it's so much deeper than that because we don't know where the corrections come. And if you buy it at different levels, like, it's so weird because we're getting ready for if this breakout happens, I mean, the next level is none of this is a bad buy. And none of this would be a bad buy. This built a big inverse head and shoulders, and we're literally on the verge of breaking this. And then we're going to end up finding ourselves at $14 for First Majestic. We talked about this a lot. And, man, oh, man. It's just, it's hard sometimes. Like, $9 now. Trading with Jagger, we were talking about buying this thing, starting, and a little bit more at 4 something. Like 450, 420, and now to see it at 9 is craziness. I remember right here when this is when they had the merger and acquisition back here in August of 24. I remember when this happened like it was yesterday. And I said, this is so freaking cheap right now because it had a huge dive. Like, I mean, when I say huge, you're talking about in a matter of days after that acquisition. People got nervous. I think it was, what is that, 1, 2, 3. There was a few days where it just dropped off 20%. When that happened, it dropped 18% in one day. But from the top here, it had a pretty nice drop here. And then I remember when they did the merger and acquisition, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it had this big 2 weeks in a row where it just seemed like the bottom was just going to keep dropping 30%. And that's where I was like, this is a steal. And that's where we started to really dig deep there. And I'm so thankful we started to do that. And I was just taking profits from crypto. Going all the way back to 21 bull market. That's when I started. Well, I had already been buying gold and silver, but I started buying more in 22 when it all collapsed. And I used the profits from crypto. And then I started to use that formula. If I was swing trading and had profits, instead of just keeping it in crypto, I would send it into the miners. And then when I did really well in crypto, with the run that happened in November and December of 24, and then the ultimate calamity in 25 in January, and we topped out for the time being. I made a hefty decision. I sold 75% of my altcoins, and I circumvented the profits, and I started to turn more towards mining stocks back in January, to go deeper and deeper as they dropped. And obviously now I'm well positioned back after these big 60 and 70% drops in crypto to have those altcoins back. But what I did, instead of waiting and letting the money fall away, I now have a huge portfolio over the years now that I built in mining stocks, and They're positioned so beautifully right now. It's like, I've been waiting a long time. A lot of people have been waiting a long time for the miners. A long time. And we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. First Majestic, if this move plays out, we're trying to get past 921. Man, I remember we were down here and we were talking about this. I know J-Ride does. I remember we were down there talking about this craziness. Mary Time says $5. Let's get the 4 first. Well, obviously. Obviously, we have to get the $4. I'm just saying $5 is coming in the pattern. There's no doubt about that. We have to get the $4 first, but the pattern is set up for something more. Something greater. I used to say XRP will be at 340 and people were laughing at me when it was at 35 cents saying, well, let's get the 50. Well, I'm just telling you where the actual eventual outcome is going to happen. And the eventual outcome is going to get you to 549 or 639 with XRP. Yes, we still have to get over $4. Yes, we have to get back above 350. Yes, we have to break all-time highs. Yes, we have to make a move and break down in discovery before it happens. But it's going to happen eventually. But yeah, so First Majestic, it's like, where do you buy? I mean, that's the question. That is the ultimate question. I can't tell you when. And I've been very transparent every time I bought more. Everything I'm looking at. But I mean, obviously, this has been done over time. So any solo investment obviously has risk in the moment. But I think over time, I mean, you can't miss. I don't think you can miss. As long as you have the heart and soul and the dedication to be putting into it where you think is... I mean, these are... Once these break out, we're not going to see these levels. We're not going to see these levels. Like, for example, B2 Gold, their valuation now for what's about to come out of the ground, they're going to have their earnings that come out either in Q4 or quarter 1 of 26. It's going to knock your socks off because they're finally starting to get some of their money paid and they're selling some of these finally, what they pulled out of the ground and held there. And they've got a lot of money on hand as it is, but they're going to start selling it. And some of the sale prices now are at 33, 34, 3,200. Like, they're crushing it. Hecla Mining's the single biggest mining stock, or the single largest silver producer in the USA. And they're still a mid-cap. What? Already? I didn't even get done yet. Well, he did have a long day. So he did have a long day. So. I don't know why that's way down there. Oh, I know why now. Forgot about that. We had a nice I don't like the way that looks though, because we can refine this. I know I have it in the monthly like this, but we could certainly refine this a little bit. It's just a short term. Interesting. I don't know if I like that necessarily. I think we could make that look better. Yeah, we could. Because I think what ends up happening here, because we can't come all the way down here. I don't think that's appropriate. I think it's appropriate like this. Yeah, see, that's better. That is better. I like that much better because now it emulates exactly what's happening here. So that was a very long on Hecla. Look how long this happened. You started this downtrending resistance in 1969. Look at this. This is one of the crazier things you'll ever see. The single largest silver producer in the USA and their mid-cap mining company, like MIG Market, if you want to put them in perspective, it was at $46.64 in 1968 in May. It's been in a descending wedge that is obviously looking like it closed out. It went from 1968 until the final back test in 2019. Now it's been consolidating since 2019 for this breakout. That is insane. Now it looks like it has a huge inverse head and shoulders, big W reverse. Like this thing, the miners look like they're packing. Like they look like they're about to do something they've been waiting decades to do. And it pulls me back to this. Well, why does it look like that? Well, it's simple. Silver's been building this pattern on this cup and handle that's beautifully formed, by the way. I've not seen a more perfect cup and handle in my life that stretches out this far. I mean, you're talking about this started in 1980, and now the handle is finally trying to break out in 2025. This pattern's been setting up for 45 years. 45 years some schmuck is sitting there saying, I know this is going to happen, and we're lucky enough to be those schmucks now that are going to reap the rewards if we just pay attention. That cup and handle is real. There's nothing fake about that. These numbers are real. There's nothing fake about these targets. Like, there's really not. It's real. And it goes higher, much higher. But this is just, oh, man. I don't know what to think of what's going to happen to the miners, especially the silver miners when this starts playing out. And it is starting to play out. When it was at 28, we're like, oh, man, what's going to happen when it's at 35, 40? Now we're at 38. What's happening is the miners are starting to go ballistic. And they haven't even gone ballistic yet. Would it kill the news stations to mention them once or twice here every now and then? I don't watch the news, but even having Bloomberg on in the background, they never talk about the miners. They talk about Bitcoin 24/7. They talk about the stupid sectors. They never talk about the miners. At this point, I just put the volume down to 0, and I just watch the headlines because it's just so mind-numbing. But, you know, this is one that I more of a recent one that I've put on here. But volume's picking up. It's trying to finally start to push out of these sections. And eventually, I mean, this is another one. I mean, it could be early. But I could go back much farther and build this. But I'm trying to build out like a short-term plot here because there's so much that this has to do. There's so many layers. So many freaking layers with all of this. But we're starting to get towards that uh-oh point, you know, like the uh-oh. Like, I hope everybody was paying attention point. Like, I know the numbers look a little different to everybody who are watching these mining numbers. Like, you guys have been watching me talk about these forever. Remember when Pan America Silver dropped to $19 and I said, I think it's going to be over 34. It's at a 4-year high right now. And man, this just dropped down here. It was so crazy how it was doing all of this. Just in March it dropped there. Then we had this drop down here. Well, that's not the one. There was one at 22. Wow, that was already back in May. I remember like that, man. The summer went by too fucking fast. That is so crazy. So crazy. When was the last time this was at this price? We topped the 2022 price. Yeah, so this is the first time in 4 years we've been at this price. So we're at a 4-year high on Pan America Silver. That's awesome. Barrett Gold now up to 26. It recently just had a pull down. And we're just, I remember when this made these formations. I'm just sitting here going, I cannot believe we're almost into August and B2 Gold is still sitting under $20. Actually, did it jump up before? Or June. Sorry, June. Look at that. Like, look how cheap this got. That is insane. I just remember when all this was happening. It went up to 21. Then when it came down here, I said, I'm buying $2,000 more. This is just ridiculous. And then I did. Or 2,500 more. Now it's just surging. And it's broken out of this massive consolidation. This is one of the world's largest gold miners. So, Newmont Mining is the world's largest miner. But as far as gold, Barrett, you're not going to find any much bigger. And this is been in a channel. It's been in a couple things you can look at. But this is Fortuna Silver Mines just makes me smile so much. It's heading towards that circle target that we target. It's so weird that these are so pricey now. I love it. I love it. And we've been playing in this theme for Fortuna for far too long. I mean, you're talking about 15 years. It's been playing the same perpetual swing. Eventually, though, it all ends meet and we start to break out. I can't wait. I already can't. Like, I can believe what's happening in the portfolio, but I can't believe. And it's a lot safer for me personally to trade this sector because it's all backed. It's not like crypto where they're just shutting the fucking JP. Like I do it through JP Morgan. I don't pay them. They have a trading app, and I do a self-directed account. And then I also do a self-directed IRA. So I just put my own emerging market stuff together and my mutual funds for my $7,000 a year write-off. But blah blah blah. That's something different. But I build this myself. It's like my ETF, and what's in my ETF of gold and silver miners. I have Barrick Gold, I have B2 Gold, I have Pan America Silver, I have First Majestic, I have Fortuna Silver Mines, I have Hecla Mining, and I have Silver Corp Metals. That's it. That's like my ETF. It's my ETF. Instead of paying somebody else for a gold ETF or a miner's ETF, I do my own. The only two that I don't have, which I will always regret, Wheaton Precious Metals and Kinross. Kinross went over $20 a day. Those are the only two I'll regret. But I won't regret what I put together. I'll just regret not having those two. I love Wheaton Precious Metals. And I absolutely love Kinross. And it was one I targeted back in 22 when it was starting to dive. I just can't believe that. Well, different strokes, different times. Profit came at different times. And B2 Gold at this point was just a better buy. After, some of the other ones at Kinross had already started moving severely. To the point it was back over $10. But, it's one of those things. It went down to like $2.50. I just wasn't paying attention to it. I was too hardcore into crypto. And I look back at it and I say, you dumb son of a bitch, you had that thing charted out since 2018. That was before I even started this, but I got too caught up in crypto in the early days. I'm hungry, Tom. You got any food? Somewhere I suppose in the abyss. God, I want to go help Julie though, because our son fell asleep. But we got to put some stuff away that we had from school, and it's just been a long day. On Saturday, me and Julie drove out to Kalamazoo, which is like almost a 4-hour drive, because Michaela went to Western Michigan University in the honors program. So she went to school, and we drove back Sunday after walking the campus and making sure she was good. And we got back at like 5. And then yesterday we had to take our son to the G-tube, or the GI doctor, which is for his G-tube, which is always stressful. But he actually did really well there. This time, probably the best checkup he's ever had. He was very easy with them touching on his tube and stuff, and he was very engaged with the doctor, which was awesome because that's not usually the case. He usually freaks out. And then yesterday it was just so busy because the middle schooler had her orientation for school. I didn't do the live last night because it was just too hectic with everything going on. And then today was a quick turnaround. We had to do his food therapy, and then he had a school orientation, and it's interesting. It's just been a lot of stuff, but totally worth it. Totally worth it. But yeah, we'll look at this real quick. John Bugathorpe, thanks for the $5 donations, and also being in Tom's number for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. So hi Tom, I joined late. Sorry if you covered it, but do you have a most likely top for Algo and DGB this alt season? No. I have no idea where the top's going to be. None. I would like to think that these are going to play out and reach their max potential, but I have zero clue. I have projections of where I think we can go, but I honestly don't know. Like, I would be stunned if and when we break out for XRP Healthcare, if this doesn't end up in time going back to 31.5, and then much more. But this it's all about timing. But at some point, this is about to go ballistic. I just don't know when. We're close. We're definitely getting close. We've been in a consolidation for, since December of 24, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, Shane, like, we're looking to hold this 5-4 area, like, for real. If we can hold that area, my God. It's just once we actually do this. Now, these have to be slightly toned back just because it's going from this support structure. But I'm just going to keep them up there. Honestly, I don't even need to show this right now. We're just worried about getting to right here. All I care about is breaking out and getting back up to here. And then we can show everything to a higher standard. I just don't like the way I have this set up right here. Nah, I guess I see why I did that. See, I see why I did that. I don't like how it looks. I mean, it is in the 4 hourly. Yeah, see, I see why I did that 100%. Yep, that's exactly why I did that. Yeah, we're basically at that point. We are legitimately at that point. I was just making sure. So, I mean, we're legitimately at that point for XRP healthcare. But I mean, versus XRP, I mean, I don't have the XRP healthcare versus XRP. Maybe on my next live, I'll set something up. But right now, I'm strapped for time. I'm trying to get... Last thing, I'll go, and then I legitimately have to go. It's a very busy time with all these school things. No joke. Mark Caston, thank you so much for the $5 donations. I really appreciate this. Greatly, greatly appreciate this so very much. And also in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. That's awesome. Viking said, Bearded Viking said, I'll be completely honest, I've heard XRP for a few years and started getting it, but I didn't know about XRP. Is it too late? No! It's not too late for XRP healthcare. We haven't even gotten started yet. It's just a matter of where you feel comfortable buying. It's not too late. When it does what it needs to do, it's not even going to be close to the cents. At least the 5 cent area. But there is that risk if this falls apart. Yeah, you could be looking at a 50% drop in a heartbeat because there's a very low circulating supply and max supply. But you are not too late for that. Frankie finds his silver at the beaches with the metal detector. I love it. Everyone thought I was stupid for buying silver over the past years. Once, then I went over 2K. I went, buying... Went over 2K, I went to silver. Okay, so you're buying gold over the past years. And once it print... Yeah, oh yeah, you're very smart. That was my philosophy. I was buying gold, but the gold-silver ratio was so far out of whack that all my focus went into the gold-silver ratio. Honestly. But Algo... I love Algo so much. I've got setups here for much farther out when we finally break these. And I don't have any doubt eventually that we're going to get up into these areas. Zero question. It's just a matter of when, how. And like I said, I have no question in time that we can do what I have on the screen. It's a matter of when. That's it. It's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. It's the same thing as what XRP did long ago. Like, this is setting up so extremely bullish over time. The macro looks unbelievable. Some people say it looks like hell. And Algo's not worth it. You know, what are you going to do? I personally believe in it. You don't have to. But because I believe in it, it's good enough for me to hold. So, I think in time, you know, it's going to do spectacular. Spectacular. But I got to go. Thank you all so much. I'm so blessed by all.